The first question I got was, are the vaccines microchipped? And I think a lot of people would laugh at this question, but this is a really popular question that people who aren't very familiar with vaccines or what's in it ask. So the short story of it is obviously there's no microchips in the vaccine. And I think that the idea of microchips being in the vaccine comes from the fact that Bill Gates did some of the funding for the vaccines. And also one of the specific ingredients in the vaccines is called a lipid nanoparticle. So when people think of nano, a lot of the times, maybe they think about nanobots, but actually that's not the case. Lipid nanoparticle means it's a very small fat particle. And what that does is surrounds the genetic material. So what actually is in the vaccine can be broken down into really three ingredients. And you guys all probably know it because you have the handout. You have the genetic material, which is found in the mRNA vaccines, or the adenovirus vector, which is the J&J vaccine. You have the fats and lipids, so the cholesterol, the phosphocholine, the pegylated lipids, or PEG, or polyethylene glycol, which surrounds the genetic material, kind of like a submarine or a wetsuit, so that way the genetic material doesn't get eaten up by your body. And then you have the salts and stabilizers. So these salts and stabilizers, such as potassium chloride, sodium chloride, which is table salt. You have acetic acid, which is vinegar. You have sucrose, which is sugar, and ethanol, which helps make everything stay soluble and not clump up. All of those things help keep the vaccine happy, so that way when it enters your body, it also matches your body's pH and doesn't make your body angry in a way when it's injected into your body. But there is no any metal compounds. There's no thimerosal, which is something people always are concerned about with the flu vaccine and mercury. There's no metals. I believe they are latex free, and that could depend on which needle and sort of syringe people use. But I brought a little show and tell for you guys. Here is the needle we use. It's a 25 gauge. It's the smallest needle we have. And basically, the smallest microchips we have cannot fit into this. You need a needle like 10 times bigger, like a 16 gauge or something like that. So super small. We use the smallest needle, and you can't even feel it when you get injected. And it's really only 1 second of injection if someone does feel the pain. And another thing is, if microchips were actually in the vaccine, this is how the vaccine comes in vials of little genetic material, and we dilute it in water. So it'd be almost impossible to get every person who got the dose. So that about 5 doses can be pulled out from this. It'd be impossible to give all 5 people a microchip, so at random. And that's really how the vaccines are drawn up. They're mixed in these vials, diluted, and then drawn up with the really small syringe that wouldn't really be able to hold a microchip.